All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. So, I am currently out of general ideas in terms of how to set up a level. Um, the level component for this comms room. I'm thinking something a little bit more dedicated rather than just like another segment of this room, and then this room also looks kind of awkward sitting on the side of this. I had to do what? I had to kind of decimate this entire wall side in order to make room for, well, whatever the hell this is. So not really too happy with this layout, but I also don't really have any ideas on how to fix it. So I guess what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to move this entire segment with the radio decoder to a separate space, and then maybe do some models on that front to fill up this space with something interesting. Other than that, today's a weird day. I haven't I've gone out for a walk, but I don't feel any more energized, and I think that's because I didn't really quite get enough sleep. And unfortunately, there's no way I can really reclaim that, so guess the creative energy is not quite there. So, I guess for now, we're gonna see if we can get something up and running. Now, curiously enough, we did create the modular bunker kit, bunker tool, but I don't really feel like it's got enough detail to make use of it here. It just feels kind of meh. So, yeah. I guess we'll just see what we can come up with here. Now, what am I thinking? I'm thinking cylinder. Right. Can block something out maybe. And how did this occur? Okay. Now what does this entail? The decoder is in the middle. Yeah, but the whole podium thing doesn't seem right. Okay. Let's try something for the sake of having something. And if it works, it works. If it's not, then... Make a third-person shooter game with Max Payne controller? Dude, don't tempt me, okay? Don't flip and tempt me. The funny thing is, I have a game like that on the list. It's called The Sonnet of Toby Graves. It's supposed to be a detective noir inspired by Max Payne. So don't flip and tempt me. And on that note, I thought that Max Payne 3 was a complete travesty on the entire series. So there is definitely room for improvement there. Okay, so this is the profile that I'm looking at. Mm-hmm. I actually don't know how big this is. So let's save this. Models, locations. Okay, it is a bunker chunk, technically. Yes. Okay, and this is what? Comms room. So the current comms room is not actually going to be a comms room. The current comms room is this one, but we're gonna delegate that to command central type thing. Okay. Okay. This may end up being too ginormous. I suppose we'll find out. I think we might have overshot our goal here. I was kind of thinking a really tall location. Instead, I ended up with a really wide one. Okay, so let's double check what this looks like. Bunker chunk. Okay, so this engine models, locations, bunker chunk, comms room. Yes, we're gonna get to Godot. And perfect. Start a new scene. Comms room. Locations. Okay. Okay, there it is. Now this looks pretty sizable. Let's see. Objects. Models. No, objects is objects, models is models. This is objects, locations, bunker chunk, comms room, TSCN. Okay. Come on now. Compiling materials or whatnot. Okay. I'm just gonna give this materials. Cool. It's kind of large. That's kind of large. Okay, so at least half the size. Let's bring the cursor back to world origin. Scale 0.5. Apply scale. Of course, this is Godot 3, which means it has no ability of scaling things down in real time. Yes, there we go. Okay, how big is this now? Okay, smaller. Still technically kind of large. Let's add the TP point. Comms room large. Just gonna place it here. And cool. Let's run the game and see what this looks like. Okay. Oh yeah, it's halfway in the ground. Okay, that's... that's pretty sizable. So this is definitely going to be running an interior environment. Maybe even a little too sizable. Reload. Okay, that's a little bit better. I think this wall needs to be closer and a bit lower. Technically, we can just run it, and it should just work. Okay. That's looking a little bit better. And then the asymmetry here is, well, it's kind of on purpose. Okay. If I am correct, we should be able to set up an environment. Interior environment trigger zone. Okay, and then we have to give it a shape. I just gotta make sure the shapes are actually set. And this shape, oh boy. Okay, we may want to make sure that everything is centered. Okay, so now let's give it a box shape. There we go. We're going to set the dimensions. And these dimensions should allow us to set up, let's see, side view. There we go. Not a number. Okay. Now, with this interior environment trigger zone, we can set it up. We have inside dark. What others do we have? We can set up different environments. What are we doing? We are doing some game dev. I'm setting up a new location for the player to discover in the middle of the randomly spawned swamp. I just need to make sure that we can actually see the environment. Otherwise, right now it's just all foggy. Can't see anything. So, inside dark, zone out, enter, zone exit. Exit is outside. Zone on enter is inside dark. So hypothetically speaking, if I were to run this, and enter that location, it should display radio console, communications room, comms room large. There we go. And it's switching to the inside dark environment. Okay. The tree is not going to be here afterwards. Nice. Okay, I think this is actually about the size that I was imagining. Maybe the ceiling could be a little bit higher. Like this. We might have to set up a different environment just to be able to see the extensions of the room. All right, let's give this a check. Sure. Okay, so what's the whole hoopla with this location? Well, it's a comms room, so lots of comms equipment, desks. Let's see. I'm still on the fence about what the whole room looks like, but I figured I might as well do something. We gotta take this out and then put it in here. Nice. Next, what? I guess we can place a light. You see, the GLBs showing up here is not exactly handy. Okay, yeah, this is not good. This is the light I want. Cool. Okay, so that's the central location. The blackboard I figured we can place here. And then desks around this space. But you see, now this is not looking too big. Let's run this. Let's run this and see. Okay. Yeah, we don't have collisions on the floor yet. So it's going to seem a little weird. Let's do this. Okay, we renamed the name of the floor. So now the mesh has lost its material. Okay, let's give that a test. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, I'm not going to copy everything. As a matter of fact, I'm actually just going to take only one, move it over here. Let's give it a spatial node. Position it outside. All right. You know what? I might actually have to add... Oh, I was going to say add some legs. Because the rigid body of the door is going to be messing with the floor. There's going to be collision issues, but apparently, yeah, already got it. Survival co-op. Some videos are private now. The streams, the previous streams stay online for a little while, and then they move on to the Concept Bay website, and they become the members' material, members' videos. Okay, so what are we looking at here? I was thinking like rows and rows. We can use the grid on the floor as a guider. So let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I don't know if this is gonna look good. And also the whole process of setting up these radios should have been automated from the first get-go. Okay, so oh yeah, I think this is also not pointing in the right direction. Oh, spatial node. I'm just gonna position that over here. Take this, move it the other way. And that's gonna be the centerpiece, and this is what everything evolves around. There we go. Okay, now, this may look kind of cool, or this may look kind of trash. I guess we'll have to see. Yeah, this looks kind of bummy, to be honest. Kind of meh. We can write a little script to randomize the radios and... Ooh, creepy. Yeah, randomize the radios and do some stuff with random rotation. But let's try this. We have technically an arrangement already made here. Can we not grab this? Right. Hmm. I need a way of selecting everything here. Sure. Sure, that'll do. We're gonna take... Are the selections here? Yes, they are. Let's reparent to a new node, spatial. All right. Now where's that spatial? Sure. Yes. Except, yeah, there's also this stuff that needs to not go away. Although, I did mention before, we kind of butchered this whole location in order to make room for whatever the hell this is, and this looks terrible, so I guess that's what we can do. We can just take that one thing and skedaddle with it. There's the spatial. Okay. Beautiful. Mm-hmm. Can get rid of the extras. Interesting. The railings might make for a fascinating choice. Yeah. We could make this as an elevated location. Hmm. Cool. How do I become a member? It's a standard like register, and then when you try to access any of the videos for any of the projects, it'll show you a subscription thing. Comms room large. Okay, so this is looking interesting. You know, optimization aside, the arrangement is fascinating. We are running at 23 frames, but then again, we do have a lot of geometry here. We'd have to do some culling to make this work. Hmm. And technically, you know, since we're on the inside, there's still all this stuff on the outside being rendered. So if I pop it over to lumber mill, okay, we've got back to 60, relatively speaking. Going back to comms room, kind of drops down to 20. Okay. You know, if this is the case, do we really need such a tall ceiling? Comms room. Reload. Let's see. BEA, beautiful. Oh. Okay, so now the ceilings are kind of low. Could probably be a little bit lower. Match it up with the lights. Well, I can't say this looks all that interesting. Parent of all nodes that can be called by the portal system. Okay, so Godot has this whole portal system that effectively, I think the player's location determines what objects get to be displayed or not. So it's not like occlusion calling, unfortunately. But it is something. We're supposed to be using this in order to make certain objects not be rendered unless we're in a certain place. Let's see. Enable certain nodes only when approximately visible. This could work. Enables certain nodes. Let's take a look at that for a sec. Visibility enabler will disable rigid body and animation player nodes when they are not visible. It will only affect other nodes within the same scene as the visibility enabler itself. If you just want to receive a notification, use visibility notifier. Enabler uses approximate heuristic for performance reasons. It doesn't take walls and other occlusions into account unless you are using portals. Implementation detail may change in the future. If you need precise visibility checking, use another method such as adding an area node as a child of a camera node. Okay, sure. And or vector3 dot product. So calculating the difference between the various locations. The angles, so you verify that you're actually looking at something. Cool. So not exactly what I need, but it is what it is. Okay. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this layout anyways. I think we just gotta figure something better. What can we do here? Okay, so we got this thing. I'm going to reparent to a new node. Spatial. Ah, but that spatial is going to be right there. Dang it. That's not what I need. All right. Put a spatial in here. And we can get rid of this stuff. Huh, this could make for an interesting traversal space. Railings. Probably don't need that. If we need railings, we'll just add them back up. Okay. So what if I take this, distance it out. There we go. Aha, right. Gotta get rid of this stuff. Okay, so this is still meant to be here, and there is supposed to be a blackboard right here. Blackboard. Okay, we could technically place a room in here, some utility stuff, and a fuse box for turning on this this light here. Also, I think we need to make sure that the batteries in the fuse box last a while. Hmm. Okay. So what do we got figured over here? Okay. Now that's a single segment. Okay. Maybe we're gonna take this out, and we're gonna take this one out. Maybe not. These desks aren't really oriented in the right way. Fix that in a bit. All right, let's take a look at this real quick. Oh, well now. Invalid set index on or null instance. I believe we left something. What is this code? Fuse box. There is a fuse box floating somewhere in here. There it is. Nice. Yeah, so this needs to go, and this one. That's cool. We can reuse these props everywhere. This one needs to point to two things. The light and generic lamp, which is that one right there. Alright, I just need to run the scene so I can check some spatial stuff. Still kind of on the cusp about this whole layout. On the fence, I should say. Ooh. Okay. Nice. It's looking interesting. I wouldn't say this is all that great of a layout. Like, it doesn't feel as purpose-built, I should say. Okay, let's try this. I'm gonna take these, reparent to a spatial node, desks, hide them, and we're gonna do some major refactoring here. This part here I kind of like, I suppose. Maybe not all of these loose switchboards. They're kind of hard to maneuver. Let's try this. Okay, so we have a desk. Do we still have a desk lineup? Yes, we do. It's just invisible. Okay. Wait, where's that other spatial? With the desks. Did I nuke it? I might have nuked it. Dang it. Okay. Fine. Oh, what is this? That's just the global spatial. Alright. Let's add a spatial node here. Put a desk in here. Take that outside. Alright. So this is 5. Okay. Let's see what this looks like. See, it doesn't really elicit the sensation that I had in my mind. Let's get rid of that ceiling. It's not supposed to be claustrophobic. It's supposed to be kind of open and grandeur. Okay, that's a bit more like it. Okay. Okay, that's just for temporary placeholder sake. Comms room large. All right. See, it doesn't... Maybe it's because everything is just on the same level, but it just doesn't feel... It doesn't feel like it's grand enough. But this is usually the point of doing block out. Let's say we're going to try something like this. So we have our central point. Let's duplicate it. Okay, we're going to give it a mirror across this object. Like this. Okay, here it's going to be centered. All right, let's try this. Just as a basic block out, basic layout. Okay. I think this has potential. Oh. Let's get the light. There we go. Pascal question about Godot sounds. Yeah, sure, go for it. If you're a newbie in sound design, Godot's not gonna save you. Because if you're a newbie in sound design, then your sound is gonna sound the way a newbie sound. Godot has all the tools needed to play back the sound, but if it has bad mixing, bad placement, and it doesn't sit well with the mix of the rest of the game, like between voiceovers and music, it's too loud or it's occupying frequencies that voice is supposed to take, then Godot can't really like automatically do it for you. It does have all the tools like reverbs and delays, phases and whatnot. You can use them as active effects, and or just like level defining spatial tools. But you know, it's not going to save you if your whole mix is kind of lackluster. It's like, you know, painting without knowing your fundamentals. No amount of professional software is going to save you. But since Cole has been working on the sound effects for this project, I can tell you that Godot gives you more than enough functionality to do whatever needs to be done. Okay, I think this actually could work. If I elevate it here, yeah, for a game jam, it needs to be there. Yeah, I mean, Godot gives you, you know, different types of EQs, filters, high pass, low pass, limiters, well, even like more than one filter, notch filter, pan, phaser, pitch shift, reverb spectrum analyzer. That's really cool. So yeah, all sorts of stuff. So yeah, you can do some very rudimentary processing there. Okay. So what if I do this now? So this looks good. That looks good. What if I take this? Mm-hmm. Apply scale. Actually, that might be cool. Hmm. GameMaker had recently had a nice ways to play with sound, specifically looping parts of a track. Yeah, you got looping. I mean, that's like audio 101. Let's see. Yeah, so click on import and you can enable looping here. Of course, this is Godot 3. Godot 4 has even better looping tools. That's like super basic stuff. Yeah, Godot's got like your fundamental features in droves. GameMaker ain't got nothing on it. Even with the latest editions. And I know I used to use GameMaker for since like Studio 1.4 up until 2. Okay, let's I guess we can export this and see how this works. Reload. I'm still on 3.5 for this particular project because the porting process is both a pain in the ass and is not unlikely that it will break something in the core of the project. I've had that happen with a couple of students. So, whatever projects I've started, I just choose to finish them. Okay, there we go. Keep trying to focus by pressing F. There we go. The heck is this? Oh, right. The consoles. Okay. Fair enough. All right, let's run this. Do. How much of Godot is programming? Um, how much of your game is interesting custom mechanics? If your game is like, basic bitch movement, forward, backward, appearing, disappearing, then programming's fairly minimal. If, you want to do stuff like, I don't know, interactable props, then just like any programming, any engine, there's going to be a bit of programming involved. But again, it all depends on how complicated your project is. I went for, crazy interactable stuff like this. So I'm not gonna say it's difficult. It's just the number of characters at this point. It's pretty rudimentary stuff. Once you figure it out once, you just propagate it to whatever. This is actually looking a lot better. This layout though. Right, so I'm going for like, you know, this stuff. Pull and then interact with it and, you know, make all this happen. It's kind of a lot of intricacies. Interesting. Okay. You can technically look at it both. So in GameMaker Studio, for example, you're coding everything. There's some very lightweight UI based editing, like you can place your tiles and objects and whatnot, but you're pretty much coding anything and everything that has to do with controlling those things. But with Godot, you have all of these like properties that you can control through the inspector, because most of this is pretty much set and forget, like a spotlight, right? Okay, cool. Color, energy, indirect energy, negative, specular. You got all of your shadow properties and editor. Like none of the stuff you need to program. You just set it and forget it. You only need to program these things, which is just accessing them through the property name and just setting them to something if you want to be able to control them. That's all there is to it. Yeah, you can do a lot in the inspector. It's not until you get to like custom game mechanics, like how do you want to interact with stuff? Well, you identify it, figure it out, and then you program it. Okay. Okay, this looks interesting, but I feel like we've entered the either a bunker in Wolfenstein or an Imperial starship. It's the counting division. Okay, so maybe in that case we do make it symmetrical. Huh. Thought the GPU particle system was lacking physics. Little did I know you have to select the new GPU particle system. It's a resource. All the properties for a GPU particle are nested in the resource, which is why you have to, you know, click on an extra tab to get to the properties. But the nice thing about it is that you can copy that resource and propagate to like multiple other GPU particles if you want to reuse it. And then if you change one, it changes all of them. All of the ones that use that resource, that is. Which is handy. Okay. So, what do we got here? What do we got here? We set us up like this, and then have the staircase up and then down. Resources classes, just resources. And it's literally just saying, oh, you know, whatever's, do I have something with a resource here? No, of course I don't. Yeah, it's like having a particle system. Oh, this is a CPU particle. Just basically doing this and then saving it. And that's it. You can reuse it in all sorts of places. And there's your particle properties. Nice. Okay. Now, do I like this? I don't know. Seems like pretty involved that for something that is supposed to be just like a small bunker location. Minor bunker location. It is supposed to be survival horror type deal. Yes. The interior locations in particular are going to be pretty sketchy. Can I position this teleport point in a place that isn't going to result in me being inside of it? Inside of a wall? There we go. I suppose this is precisely why we have to play around with some block meshing. Figure out if the space works for what it is that we're trying to ask of it. Hmm. I mean, this sort of works. I don't know. It's almost a bit too grandiose for what this location is. Let's try this. And then the space underneath is going to be free to walk around. Let's do radio consoles. I guess I have to ask myself, how big is this bunker? How big was this bunker before it got smashed to bits? I suppose something like this wouldn't be out of the question. Okay, this is gonna be the exit. So the players could technically jump down here if they see hostiles coming in their way. Guess we're going for verticality here. Okay, I need to increase the FOV. There we go. So we can work a bit more comfortably here. Apply scale before bevel. Okay, what the heck? that's a teleport point. I don't need that. I need this one. Nice. Okay, so this is for the most part just kind of me experimenting with basic shapes, see what would look nice. So hmm. See, I spent all that time making a modular bunker kit, and yet still we kind of blocked everything out using basic geometry here. Oh yeah, maybe have some sort of a jump that needs to be done here. Oh, hypothetically, that might work. Okay, so let's do... Yep. Control M on the y-axis. Okay. Now, well, that's not really good. Oh, right. That actually looks kind of interesting. Huh. Okay, we'll see what that looks like in a moment. And then this whole thing, I'm gonna have to move it over to this place. And there's gonna be a collapsed jumping area that we can go over here. Oh. Cool. Probably not gonna keep this though. There's not a whole lot of point for it. Unless this is where we place the... Huh. Unless this is where we place the hologram. The hologram device. This might be a nice placement for it. Alright. Well, let's export. And then we'll take a break. Okay. So the player comes up here. We've got the coordinates, or the data to get the coordinates. And then we'd have to go up here, make a jump to that side, and that's where the actual device is going to be. unless we place it down here. We could hypothetically break it apart into a series of consoles, one over here, and then the player would have to get to the correct console. To get the coordinates. Okay, I'd say let's just end this here for the time being. I'll process what the hell I just created, and we'll see if it fits next time. Cool. Thanks everybody for popping in. Continue in the next one.